Are you ready for another Sassy Sleeve Saturday? I am super excited for this sleeve this week. I love it. It is a circular hem or a half circular hem sleeve. We'll do a full circular sleeve later, but this week it is that half circular hem sleeve. Hi, I'm Christina and I love digitally apparel patterning and flat patterning. It is so much fun to be able to see a garment and then recreate it yourself. So without any further ado, let's get patterning this fun, sassy sleeve. I'm going to bring up Adobe Illustrator, and I am also working in half scale right now so that I can get it done quickly, print it out, and then recreate it on a half scale form without using tons and tons of fabric. So this is my half scale, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have this be a short sleeve circular sleeve hem. I have my little kind of inspiration photo right here. That's just going to give it a nice flare, but it's going to be set into that arm's eye nice and smooth. There's just going to be that little bit of ease that goes over the shoulder cap. So unlike the puffy sleeve that we did last week, this one's going to set in with very little gathering. First thing I'm going to do is make sure that it is ungrouped. Then I'm going to just pen a line straight across like that. And zoom in just a little bit. And now I'm going to cut away this bottom part. I also want to cut this center line so that I have that initial grain line. Now I just make sure that everything that is highlighted I want to go away, and it's gone. Woo! Now I have a short sleeve. There are a couple of different ways you can do this. Yeah, so we'll do it so that we're only going to be manipulating half. We were going to reflect it over to the other half, and then we're going to trim away a little bit away for that front curve. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this, I'm going to cut the sleeve. I'm going to cut the sleeve in half, just like so. And get this line as well. Awesome. Then I'm going to move all of that up. Then I'm just going to copy paste the 1/2. And you know what I should have done? I want to make sure I get that center line as well. So I'm going to I'm going to shift and click on that center line to get it. There we go. Now I have my sleeve. And you know what? I don't think that is perfectly square. So we're going to do a 5x5 rectangle or square. We're going to zoom in, and yeah, so it is not actually perfectly perpendicular. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight everything, making sure I get that center line. And I'm going to rotate it so that it is perfectly perpendicular. There we go. Just like so. Because then I can actually just move this rectangle up to be my new guideline. So to get a half circle, I have to go from 180, I have to get 180 degrees. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to slash and spread this sleeve until it hits this line, basically. And that's going to give me that, well, that'll give me the quarter of the circle. And then when I reflect it, that'll give me, so it's a full half circle. So next what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to transform this line. And we're going to move it horizontally, -1. Not 0.1, going -1. And because it's half scale, I think that's going to be a little far. So I'm going to go -0.75. Hit copy. Transform again. Transform again. So that'll give me 4 slots plus the center to be able to get that straight out. The next thing I should also do is I should make sure that this is dropped straight down. So right now I have my underarm seam coming in at that slight angle, and if I do that, just rotating it, it'd probably be okay. But all I'm going to do is pull it out so that it's perfectly up and down, and we're going to go from there. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate and open up this first one. So I'm going to copy paste a line right on top of this, shift, highlight the rest of them. We're going to rotate from this point there, and we're going to just rotate out about 1/2 inch. And that's that center line. Next, we're going to start cutting this pattern apart. You want to make sure that you are... Okay, so it's saying that I am not cutting. I want to cut this guy. There we go. And then scroll out. Probably need to go out one more. And then we're going to also cut on that line. Then we're going to copy and copy front, click off, click on, highlight everything else that we want to rotate. And we're going to rotate on that point there. We're going to move it out probably about 1 inch. Then we're going to do the same thing. Copy, cut, or select, cut, select, cut. Then we're going to copy front, click on it, get everything else, including those guys. Almost, whoops. There we go. And we're going to rotate off that point about another, we might need to go a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go just a smidge more on this first one as well. Because this last one, we're going to cut it apart. Select the top part, and we're going to cut it apart as well. Copy front. Oh, and I probably should have been cutting that center line apart, and I haven't been. Whoops. And then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this, that it hit there, just like so. Whoops. I missed this line right here. Oh, let's reselect that. So there's the start. Let's get the rest of it. And that top line. We're going to rotate it until that line hits there. Boop. Just like that. And then we can just continue that up, and that will finish out the sleeve. So now we have the base layout of what we want. And what I'm going to do is grab a new layer that I can work with, and I'm going to lock this original layer. And I am going to pen down. I thought I lined that up, but I guess I didn't. Did I pen that down? I did. So right there. So if you hold shift while you're penning, you will go at the 45-degree angles. And we're also going to flip that so that the line should show up. And then you can either go straight up to where that line's going to intersect and do a nice long pull, like so. Ooh, that was not what I wanted to do. There, now it's showing up. And then re-click on that anchor, click, and then I like to smooth, and then you'll smooth this out. So I also like to get an anchor point at one of those T's I find is nice, and then go back up to the top and pull it out so it has that nice smooth, you want that smooth transition up over the shoulder and then curved underneath. Now, when I did that pull, that really long pull, it pulled it too far over here. So we're going to just zoom out and we're going to fix this guy a little bit because he pulled way too far as he went. And you can see now my lines have shown up that I am now directly at a right angle from that initial point, which is what you want for when we reflect it. And it's hitting there nicely. So I'm just going to hide that first initial, and that's looking a little steep to me. But I think that's okay. I just pulled it out just a little bit because that curve was looking a little harsh. And then that is half of our sleeve. So all we have to do is make sure we're in the full select, and we're going to reflect it. And actually, we're going to reflect it a different way. So we're going to hit O. We're going to reflect across that line. Before you do that, you need to hit O. Get off of that. Select it. O. Alt, I believe it is. And then we're going to reflect it across that line and hit copy. That way we have both sides of our sleeve. And we can go ahead and finish making this pattern. So we're going to cut that line. Now we're going to cut this line. And instead of deleting this line, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shorten it, and I'm going to make that part of my grain line. Then I'm going to go and rejoin. Those are two. And I want it smooth. You have to make sure sometimes when you move stuff like that, there's going to be hidden points that didn't fully get deleted, and that's what that little thing is. So you just sometimes have to zoom in and make sure you're not getting some missing pieces. Now the last thing you want to do, if you're going out of just purely knit fabric and there's no there's some ease to it and everything, you can probably get away with stopping here. However, on all sleeve patterns, there is a little bit more cut out for the front of the arm because we need just a little bit more ease around the front of our arms. So a lot of times what we will do is just trim away a little bit on this front section. So if I were to just trim it away and create more of that type of a line, then what we're going to do is cut at that intersection and at that corner, and then rejoin, that should have joined. I just want to make sure it did. And it's just a little bit, so I want to make sure that it is nice and smooth. Whoops. Then the last thing you can do is go back in and mark your back of your sleeve with 2 hash marks. And there we have it. We now have just made a half circular sleeve that would be ready to get set in to our half scale pattern. I am loving doing these types of sleeves. If there is a certain type of sleeve that you are interested in learning how to do, definitely drop it in the comments below and we will get it on the list so that we can start pulling out some more sassy sleeves in our patterning adventures. And if you're interested to see the key commands that I use all the time instead of having to go fish over in these tools or look over on this other side, definitely grab my useful key commands charts. I'll have that linked down in the description below so that you can start digitally apparel patterning in Adobe Illustrator yourself. And I hope you had a wonderful sassy Saturday with me, and we will see you in another video.